Hello everyone, Paulo P13 here, and welcome to today's video. Today's video is another episode of The Two Sides, and I've got the great guests, SenRaven and Mr. Free to Play back. It is going over the game modes that are most important to build for, and we're doing this from different perspectives because we've got a free-to-play player representing the free-to-play side in Mr. Free to Play MSF, and we have someone that spends representing his viewpoints, which are pretty reminiscent of the people that do spend that are at his power levels in SenRaven. So there's two different perspectives, and I'm basically here hosting and moderating. Might give a bit of input here and there, or just make sure everything is right. And yeah, basically most of this is thanks to them. So very thankful for them, and make sure you go subscribe and to all of them and follow them on Twitch and go check out their content and their streams because they do some great work. And I'm really thankful for that. So let's get into this. So for this video, of course, we have two amazing guests as per usual. We have SenRaven.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And Mr. Free to Play MSF.
Hi guys.
And again, so the topic is, what is the most important mode in the game to build for? Let's get some initial reactions. Mr. Free to Play, what do you think?
For me, on a free-to-play aspect, I think the most important event to plan for and to try to complete as high as you possibly can is the Wakandan Chaos Theory event. I believe being able to farm whatever characters you want to red stars is going to be huge in the long term of this game.
So
that's a good point. I actually didn't even think about that part. we said modes, and I was like, oh, raid, blitz. Yeah, okay. I didn't even think about the red star event.
Yeah, it caught me off guard too. That one was unexpected, but definitely an interesting one. So you think the most important thing to be building for is the Wakandan event Chaos Theory? Wow. Okay. SenRaven, what was your initial reaction?
My initial was, I think it depends on where you are in the game. If you're high-end, close to end game, War has the best rewards for what you need between the War and War Store credits and the orbs for the mini uniques, so you can build up for your DD3 runs. Place to get those rewards. If you're early in the game, Arena is probably your best bet, as you want the cores to be able to refresh. Especially if you're free to play, you want to be able to refresh that store for that energy for free. And Blitz is definitely the game's Foxnext's preferred release method. Hopefully that changes in the long run, but for now, the most character releases are going to be through Blitz. So getting your roster up, important. But yeah, the new event is definitely up there.
Okay, so let's see. Mr. Free to Play, what do you think about SenRaven's picks here?
I think they're good. I think he brings up a great point that depending on where you're at in the game, your priority should be adjusted. And not only that, the alliance you're in, your priority should be adjusted.
Right.
Blitz is a tough one for me to sell to everybody, just for the simple fact that early game players can't compete at the same level as. So it's a hard sell for me because I actually have Blitz. Like, I have 9 different game modes written down, and Blitz is ranked number 7 on my list.
Interesting. Okay, so you got a whole list here. That is something we'll probably get into. SenRaven, what do you think about Mr. Free to Play's choice of the Wakandan event?
I think he's on the money there. This new ability, event is actually set up fairly decent.
Right.
It does take quite a while to farm up what you need, but give it a couple of months. If you're actually maxing out, which I actually haven't done today's yet, I need to get in there and get it done. If you're able to max it out at level 7 next month, and able to farm the gold credits, you're getting a 6 red star every couple of months. And that's a huge boost, especially since they brought the percentages up. So that will overall bring your power levels up. Now you're still restricted by what's, but that's a completely different problem in itself. I think it definitely brings that mode up to pretty high end. Luckily, you only need to put one team together for it.
Right.
And one of them is a legendary that's fairly easy to get since it's Shuri and it's Sinister 6. So fairly early on that you can build that team. So yeah, that does bring the value of that event up a little higher.
Well, just looking at the rewards here, you get, for each time you complete the 7-star one, you get 18 silver and 7 gold. So each event, you can do 3 of those, so 21 gold and 18, 36,
Yeah.
52.
So every 5 months,
54,
you can get
54.
yourself... Yeah, every 5 months, you can get yourself a 6 red star character.
Okay, so every 5 months you get a 6 red, and if my math is right here, 54, so you can get a 4-star every month or a 5-star every 3 months.
Yeah, which isn't bad. Well, for the 5-star, it's a little slow, but in your donations, you're getting a silver credit every day.
Right.
So you're basically getting 84 a month. So in 2 months, you can get yourself a 5 red star, which is pretty solid.
Right, that is something to consider as well. And you did say that the Shuri was Sinister 6. Just for clarification, it is Spider-Verse.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Now, if you get Sinister 6, you
But
get double
Sinister
Spider-Verse.
6 is Spider-Verse.
Yeah, just in case there's someone that's just looking for that. If you do happen to have the stars on Spider-Man, Miles, or any of the symbiotes, you also can unlock Shuri. All right, so do you guys have any points about... Mr. Free-to-Play, do you have any points about the things that SenRaven said that you disagree about, like why it wouldn't be War or the other modes, Arena and Blitz?
I mean, these modes all come down to your alliance. I mean,
Right.
are you or War Alliance? If so, War's going to be ranked up pretty high. If you're on a more... I always highly recommend that you find a active alliance, but nothing that demands certain teams be built. Like, that's always my recommendation for free-to-play. Find someone that's going to be just as active as you, but not going to require you to build certain teams. So that way you can focus on getting resources as fast as possible versus... And that's why when I rank my entire list, you guys are going to see I prioritize resources over anything else. But, I mean, yeah, Arena's great. I mean, the Arena credits, legendary characters, which are always important. Cores, I do a lot of things with cores on my account. So cores, and I know a lot of people spend cores on energy and stuff like that. So that's hugely important there, Arena. And yeah, it's kind of where I feel about them. I mean, I can't give a direct one way or the other. It's always going to depend on your alliance. I mean, I can give you a recommendation on how I feel as a free-to-play player based on a generic, all things equal kind of basis.
All right. SenRaven, do you have any points why you feel the Wakandan event wouldn't be the very top?
Sorry.
No, I mean, those Red Star... Oh.
No, go
I mean,
ahead.
to me, those...
Volume cut out.
Yeah. To me, the Wakanda event should be number one. One, those red stars can build towards your arena to get you a higher placement arena. So it snowfalls and other things. It will help you complete challenges. So snowfalls there. U7 is snowfalls there. War, Dark Dimension. I mean, those red stars, everything else in this game, and that's why I feel it's so high.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sen, do you have anything?
I think it falls off. I wouldn't rank it as number one. I would put it up there because, like you said, those cascade and they're very important. I wouldn't put it super high up there though because the limited amount that you get, it should be higher because the rewards do need to be a little better. Would have been nice if they were a little better on that. And team, while they're easy enough to get, they're not very useful anywhere else. And they specifically got put in for this mode which that's up to people to decide on their own. From what I see it is they put out this mode and went, oh, we're going to put this team as a requirement because nobody uses this team for anything because they're not good at anything.
I might be the only one. I have like a 380k Wakandan team, and I used to use them all the time in Alliance War offense as the counter to BKT, but then when you stop seeing BKT, I put them on defense, causing them to waste their big brotherhoods on them. So I've always found them more of a war team than anything else, which is the weirdest thing, but yeah, they're not a very commonly used team, and every time people see me use them, they're like, why on earth are you using your Wakandans? Just break them up and send them everywhere else. And it's like, well, I built them. I might as well use them at this point.
Sure, and you have exactly the use that they would be for. You would get. On the other hand, if you put Killmonger right now with Taskmaster, Black Panther with Hero Brawlers, Shuri with Symbiotes or with Marauders, you got 3 teams that benefit from those characters instead of them being together in one. So for me, the event loses a little bit because it's this team. Because they specifically went, instead of using a certain different amount of like cosmic villains or whatever else combination, they specifically went, have this Wakandan team that nobody wants to use. Because for majority of the players, this is not a team that gets used for anything.
It's completely fair. Now, I do have a question. There has been one, I guess, main game mode that no one has mentioned yet. I guess, Mr. Free to Play, do you think that raids have not been mentioned yet?
I mean, raids is ranked number 4 on my list. I think it comes down to your alliance, how much they want to push. I mean, to me, I think you can accidentally fall into a raid team. U7's a little bit of a different story, but I think to start, you can accidentally fall into one that can do well. But I don't know. That's kind of where I stand with it. It's very difficult to answer.
Okay, SenRaven, thoughts on you? You mentioned War, Blitz, and Arena. Those are 3 of the 4, I guess, most normal game modes in the game, and left out raids. Why was raids kind of the left out one for you?
I think mostly I just left it out as it's kind of a default. You have to be able to work on them because that's where you're getting majority of your T3, T4 materials. So if you want to build up your teams, you have to go for that mode anyway. So ranking it among productive to me because you need to be able to push them anyway to get what you want done. Now, without war, without those war credits, you're limiting yourself going to the store and not being able to open the chest for war credits. So you're limiting yourself on the mini uniques and some of the other uniques, but you can still do it without war. It's just that one comes off as a higher bang for your buck. You're gonna do it anyway, and this is the main mode for the game. So I didn't bother just kind of giving it a ranking.
So just summing it up, you both kind of said, well, if you build for the other things, you're gonna get your raids handled well enough.
You kind of have to, because if you're building for Arena, you're not making a single team. You're not going to take Inhumans as your only team. You're getting a mix. Your meta teams are the combination of Black Bolt and Phoenix and whatever else. If you're doing big teams, and you need 8 solid teams for defense, so between those two, you're going to have your raid team available. Otherwise, you're not going to be performing well in the other one.
Makes sense, and it's a good reason. I know a lot of people, especially say, it's usually what I hear when I'm making videos or I'm streaming and people are talking, and the chat will always say it's either Arena or Raids. Build for either Arena or Raids, and then eventually you'll build out your roster for Blitz and War. But if you start focusing on Blitz and War,
That's
more
pretty fair.
specifically, because if you're building for War, you're kind of building for Blitz because that's both kind of require a wide roster. So if you're building for those, you're kind of going to get to the raids anyways. Is that kind of what you're going to say? And Arena.
Yeah, they definitely mix well together from all the different modes. You can focus on one or the other, and you can go with a wide roster that gives you a lot of teams that are low level, and you'll still do decently Blitz. You just won't be 6 Blitz. You'll still get decent points. Of course, you want to get up to the highest points to make it faster and easier, but you can still do that. But those teams won't perform well in the higher end raids. They also won't perform that great in Arena. So if you only have one solid team that you're using for raid, you're limiting yourself for other stuff. If you're working for the other modes, raid kind of falls in line, and you have the teams available for that.
All right. Well, Mr. Free to Play, you made a list.
Paul, you're cutting out.
Sorry, I'll just repeat that. So you made a list and actually ranked them all in order?
Yes.
Can we hear that list?
Sure, here it goes. So, like I said, I kind of put in the mindset of a free-to-play mid to kind of like in the mid-game. Anyway, so I ranked the Wakanda event number 1, which you already revealed. 2, to me, is challenges. Biggest thing to a free-to-play player, and getting those resources is a huge advantage. You want to try to get those maxed out as soon as possible, so I ranked that number 2. 3 was going after legendary events. 4 was raids. 5 was arena. 6 is where I placed war. 7 to me was Blitz. 8 was Dark Dimension, and I have campaigns as number 9, but really it's as needed.
Okay, so yours was actually a lot of the stuff you had at the top either wasn't even considered, or SenRaven, or you had at the bottom were things that SenRaven put near his top. So you kind of had the opposite end of the spectrum here. Do you have any idea why this is?
I mean, honestly, if you're an end game player, the chances are you've already completed most of this stuff, and war and arena and blitzes are probably the most important thing to you. I mean, they would be to me if I had challenges completely wiped off wiped off. I'd be hardcore into war, and at this point, war transfers to blitz, and it's kind of how it works.
Okay, so just one more question about your list. Do you feel that yours ranking was drastically shifted towards things that required as few characters as possible due to the fact that you're free to play?
Yes, it is. I still don't have a lot of the war meta teams built up, but I do have a great arena team. I always focus on getting and stuff like that. So yeah, you're pretty much right on your presumption.
All right, so SenRaven, hearing Mr. Free to Play's full list, what do you think of it?
I mostly agree with it. I didn't really rank challenges that high just because with time, and if you're not focusing on the challenges and you're focusing on your teams, you'll get those challenges done over time anyway. So, and you can't really push for them a little harder. You have to push the challenge. And to be able to push your roster, you got to push either arena, you got to push raids. So that one's a little lower ranking for me. Like I said, the Wakandan event is a little lower ranking for me. But those fall mostly in the middle for me. I think I don't rank Blitz super high.
Right.
That goes opposite of that. It's their preferred release method because it gets the most engagement in the game. Because if you're only releasing, trying to go for that, top 100, top 2,000, there's a ton of hours that you got to put into the game, which is why it's their preferred release method, because you're in the game for hours and hours at a time. It is not a good method of releasing characters. It's not that I like it, it's just there. So it's a little higher ranked because of that. But yeah, I would probably put those more in the middle, with the raid and arena a little higher ranked. So on it a little more to have a coherent thought on it, but it's a fairly solid list.
Interesting. Now, here's one thing that I would say about Blitz. I know that if I have a busy day and I have to like do a lot less in any one game mode for a day, Blitz is the one I'm cutting out.
That's fair. That thing takes forever.
Same.
So I would, just on that alone, I personally wouldn't rank Blitz the highest, because the most you're missing out on is if you can get at least all the milestones done, you're just missing out on a ranked tier. So for instance, in this Blitz, if let's say you're going for top 2,000 and you come up short because you decided to not go as much and you get top 2%, and that's like one of the sharpest cutoffs in the entire game, you're still only losing 30 shards of a singular character. So I personally agree with not having Blitz very high, other than the fact that they do release so many new characters out of it.
It all comes down to the time investment. If you have the time to do it, and you're willing to sit down and do the rotations, then you're getting the rewards for it. Now, the rewards need to be better. Their tiers need to be better. Their top 100 versus top 2,000 is bullshit. It really just needs to be percentage based. There needs to be more milestones. There's no reason to cut it off at 14 milestones. Let it go to 25, 30 milestones. If people want to keep blitzing, let them keep blitzing and getting more rewards.
Yeah.
It's just there. So you have to do the best with what you have while trying to get them to improve it. So my rotation takes about 35 to 40 minutes. If I sit down and just do a straight rotation without, pulling myself away from it, it's about 35 minutes to do a full rotation. And I can easily hit top 2,000, but I'm at almost 7 million for my account. So I can hit that 2,000 without too much problem. It will take me... I'm willing to put that time in. If somebody's not willing to put the time in, but they're willing to spend, that's a different approach. If you're not willing to do either one, then you have to wait forever to get that character.
Right. So now, a lot of the modes that you ranked really high, Sen, those were, you kind of need to build your whole roster out. If you didn't spend in the game, and if you were completely free to play, do you think you would have the same ranking?
Probably not. I think my ranking would probably... but I think my Blitz, again, depending if I had the time or not, if I was completely free to play, I think my Blitz ranking would be a little higher, because if you do have the roster to pull off that 1 or 2% or the top 2,000 or whatever, you are getting those shards that you're not buying, because it's $50 for $30 for 50 shards. And you can see on the rewards where that basically what $30 gets you.
Yeah.
Because if you rank up top 2%, it's 55 shards. Sorry, 3 to 5% is 45. So it's almost that $30 if you place in 3 to 5%. So if you can pull off the 1 to 2%, you're basically saving yourself $30 for that character. If you're willing to drop the $30 and blitz at the same time, then you're getting the highest rewards you can get for it.
Right. Well, I think we've pretty much covered our thoughts on this mode. Mr. Free to Play, do you have anything else about the most important modes you'd like to add?
The one thing I'd like to add is I believe SenRaven is right about War as it being the most coveted rewards resources that you can get in this game, as it covers some very exclusive character, including Mr. Sinister that just went there, gear, and stuff like that. So, I mean, if I could build and be more competitive, and we are competitive in War, but yes, War would be ranked a lot higher if I had the resources to really push that game mode, put it that way. And as far as Blitz release characters, I 100% agree with SenRaven. I do believe the Blitz mode needs an overhaul. I have no problem with them releasing characters that way. I just wish it was more based on effort and not collection power, as that makes up the huge difference in how far a person can go. But
I just wish they would spread it out. We haven't had character in a long time now. We'll get the campaign events, which is great. It's content, but they never bring those campaign events back, which is just baffles my mind that you have this content sitting in the back that you won't put back out. And it's like, why not? Every 3 months, bring an event back out. It's free content that you don't have to work on because it's already done.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The one I miss the most is definitely raid releases. I loved those raid releases.
Into wanting to do raids, it gets you more excited about actually having to go through this content that you're doing on a daily basis anyway. Put in a new orb, but it doesn't bring as much money, does it?
No.
When you're limiting, instead of putting in a character in there that you can get through free raids. Yeah, so it's all follow the money.
Fair enough. Now, I do have one last question. It just occurred to me. There is a game mode we have not even mentioned because right now there are 0 rewards associated to it. But they have announced that they are doing some changes and adding more modes to this. But so now we're talking live PvP. How important do you want live PvP to be? Just a quick answer, like not how important is it now, because right now there's nothing associated, but how important do you want it to be for the game? I guess, Sen, you can start it.
Potential in this mode to make it really good. I don't know if I want him to make it super important, but it can be really good. There's data mine that they're putting in limited challenges and basically boosted and limited. So it sounds like you might be able to do a fight with completely maxed out characters versus somebody and limited down to like tier 9 or whatever. So that would be interesting to see. If they do rewards into it, they can get a whole bunch of participation through it. And if they actually tie a character to it and switch that character out every month or something, or do tournaments for a character, that would be very interesting to see.
Definitely an interesting take on that. A tournament for a character is not something I remotely considered, but I'd be fascinated to see it. What do you think, Mr. Free-to-Play?
I think they could have a hit on their hand if they handle it correctly. To me, it's the problem in this game, and I would love to see it be something that's more featured and stuff like that.
All right. Yeah, sorry, that last question was a bit of a curveball. It just kind of occurred to me as we were talking. I'm like, wait, there's technically another game mode here that we hadn't even mentioned. But I think you guys gave a lot of different insight. And this one, I think, actually really highlighted the difference between the two areas of which you are, like free-to-play and not free-to-play, and just how you really feel about the different game modes. So I think this one was very interesting, and I think the viewers will actually learn a lot and really think through this in a way that they haven't been able to before. So I just really wanted to say thank you guys for that. And where can we find you guys? How do we thank you? Where do we subscribe? Where do we follow? What do we do? Sen, you want to start it?
You can find me every morning 8:30 Pacific time on twitch.tv/SenRaven, or you can go to tinyurl.com/SenRaven for my YouTube link.
Awesome. Mr. Free-to-Play, where do we find you?
Yep, and you guys can still only catch me on YouTube. Most of my videos get released on noon Eastern Standard Time every day. Some days I miss, but that's where you can find me.
Every day-ish on YouTube, and Twitch and YouTube for SenRaven. YouTube is officially a recommendation there, so go check those guys out. Make sure you subscribe and you follow. Anyone want any last words? Anything you got, just blurt it out.
Don't buy Red Stars.
Mr.
I'm not following that trick again. I'll catch.
Have a good one.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
All right, see you.
All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. And so there we go. You have a very different perspective if you are a free-to-play player than if you're someone that spends on what the true most important things to build for the game, to build for in the game are. If you are someone that spends, perhaps you're more likely to think that it is something like Alliance War, where you need to build up as many good characters as possible. And if not, perhaps you'll think something a little more out of the box, like the Wakandan Chaos Theory event. That is definitely not what I meant to click. That is not it either. I can not click buttons. But the Wakandan Chaos Theory event, which is this one, in order to get these Red Star promotion credits, because they have a lower requirement to get into it. Now, I'm not here to say exactly which one is right, but I think there's important value in hearing the different opinions, seeing where you line up with what you are doing in the game, and seeing if that helps you. Personally, I always try and be as efficient with my resources as possible, but I love building wide, so I really agreed with a lot of things that I was hearing from both sides. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, or you can join my Discord and let me know that. There is a link to that in the video description, as well as some other links. Make sure you guys go follow these guys. They're awesome, and go watch their content, because they're pretty amazing content, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I hope you guys are having a great day. And make sure you leave likes and all the important YouTube stuff on this video so that we know that you guys are enjoying this. And yeah, hope you guys are enjoying this. I do hope this helps. And as always, I'm here to help.